Hey,
Hey,
Hey
yo.
yo,
welcome back.
yo.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome back.
What is going on, everybody?
Opinion Outlaws, third
opinion outlaws.
season,
Third
episode
season.
7. And as anyone can see, we are not at the same crib. We are just somebody over there, somebody over there. Hey,
All over the place.
all over the place. Everybody has their own thing, but we can still make the thing work.
Exactly.
Amen.
And we start off by saying what we have said for the past 2 years almost, my brothers. And that's it. The only thing that you cannot say is you cannot say that.
But you cannot say that exactly.
Are you saying that?
What? What you mean by it, huh? What you mean by it?
I don't know. Who said that?
Uh,
I don't know. But
so
guys,
what?
Amen.
yeah,
Preacher straight to the topic.
Yeah, I'm just approving what your message. I like it. I'm liking
respect,
it.
respect it. And as we mentioned earlier, we were thinking what kind of subjects or what kind of subject do we speak today? We take a topic, and one of us, one of us was suggesting that we would take the topic of the diversity and the, I would say, the difference in usage of technology, how the technology would make you different from the different generations, from different people, from different places, like environment, and that diversity, how it, I would say, what's the right word? I'm looking for a right word. You guys know the right word. Wait a second.
The different. What you mean by the different? What?
I'm talking about the. I don't want to say diversity because diversity is not the right word for this. What I'm trying to describe, but basically, how technology makes us different, even though everybody's using the same technology in a sense.
Unequal. Unequally
Unequal,
yoked.
unequal. But the reason why we discuss it is because the first thing first, I have never heard a podcast or a book or an article where technology has been one of the diversity pinpoints. And the second thing is that the last time we spoke for ageism. And I was thinking that it's very natural for us to talk about now technology because of the fact that the age gap does that. Everybody has their experience when their parents or the elders they try to change a channel or they have some other problems in their phones or stuff. They ask you, and you just go there, and it's just a button or like
So,
you're just thinking to yourself like, come on, man, or you're just doing it with because you like to annoy me, or what is going on?
hmm,
Everybody has experienced
hmm.
this, absolutely. But we start off with the question of, actually, I'm gonna start off with the question of what kind of experiences you two guys have in this scenario where you clearly saw the difference when technology was involved. It changed the group dynamic, or they changed the way people look at you, or they changed, or something in you changed that you said, okay, this is a little bit different. Do you have any experiences, or do you have experiences like I mentioned before, that where you just wanted to go and you wanted to go and chill somewhere, but all of a sudden you have to go and help them because one cable is not attached to another cable?
Very thinking about it very hardly right now.
I'm thinking very hard. I'm just thinking more about stories how technology changed, like the way we kind of go about things. But I think like that's a bit besides the point. So if Bucky says something today, you can go first because I literally not for now I have to think about it.
Well, how would I say? Well, I would begin in a way that overall, I wouldn't say that technology has like diverse anything in a way, has brought out the ageism, I would say, in a kind of way, because you know the newer generation learns things quicker than the older generation, and there's that gap in between that you know older one is like, how in the world do you use this button and so on and so on, but the younger ones are like adapting to it quicker and you know prefer that way. So, well, I can like give an example similar to Ideal, pretty much that your family member, parents, or etc. are like
Yeah.
using the smartphone, scrolling to the whatever app they're using at that moment, and they get
Yes.
stuck in something or miss press some button, and then they're like, "Hey, what happened to this phone? This phone is broken now." And in reality, they just has like a frozen screen or like made a screen record or some other type of shit that caused it to like function differently. Then they're like, "Oh, it's broken," and then you just come. They ask you to fix it, and you just come there and just press the one button, and they're like, "Oh, it was that simple. Oh, this is a whole complex thing and all that." But yeah, I mean,
Mm,
just like I said earlier, it's mostly about the adaptability of like older generation.
mm.
So I don't really think that this subject like uh, touches skin tone or backgrounds or religiousness or etc. etc. It's purely mostly about people who have access to technology and the age group,
Mm.
basically.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, I was actually reminded uh, of like back in the 90s when personal computers became more common to people.
Mm,
I remember hearing from my parents that uh, back in the day when all everybody was kind of trying to learn them, my grandparents were actually, you know, well, of course, everyone who had the access and the money for it, they had a chance. But the interesting thing was that, well, my dad's parents chose to, go that road of, learning this somewhere, like
mm,
learning all the capabilities of computers, whereas my mother's parents chose not to. So I think it's like, well, it depends where you live, but in the end, if you had a chance, yeah, it's nothing really, like revolutionary. Really, I just think like if you had the chance, it's really about whether you choose to get to learn the system, like about everything. It's really up to you. What do you want to learn? What do you don't want to learn?
mm.
My grandparent, father's parents learned how to use them, but my mother's parents, because they just for some reason chose not to learn. So, but I don't know if that answers the question at all.
It is. It is experience. I'm just interested now that you meant it. I'm just interested. How did it affect their life, like in now? Maybe, or
Yeah,
Buggy, did you have a question or?
Yeah, I was about to just to say what Puri earlier mentioned.
yeah,
It also depends on what type of technology we're speaking of, because we got the
mm,
internet in a way, and as a consumer, you don't really have to understand internet how it functions in a way. You just plug and play pretty much. Or are we speaking about technology? Technology. Freaking hell, the language is getting harder now. I have slept for 3 hours, so don't mind me. Or are we speaking about like, for example, smartphones, computers, or where you have a actual UI to interact with and like press buttons, physical buttons, or have a, or even virtual reality. So
I,
it purely depends on the technology. What are we specifically speaking of, in a way?
I was thinking more for phones because those are the things that now are in a usage of so
mm,
much in a sense. But our parents, for example, they didn't have phones at all. Like the
mm,
first phone was maybe I don't know if you guys know, but it was that big brick
yes,
that you had to carry everywhere, but you didn't carry because it weighed so much.
Mm.
And then before that, there was those telephone booths.
Hey, the good old
yes,
cling.
mm,
I'm at the payphone, trying to go home.
I don't know, guys. Maybe you haven't experienced this, but I know a person who has experienced it. When you go to a phone telephone booth. You had that window of opportunity to state your name and your purpose. Why, who are you and why you're calling? And it's that delay, and then afterwards, maybe 2 seconds, you have a time to say your name and the thing that you want, and then afterwards, it's paid for how much will you talk. And one guy, he got creative because he was stranded and now he had to get to way back to his home, but he didn't have any money or anything. So what he did was he went to the telephone booth. He didn't put any change in it. He just picked it up, state your name and your thing that what you want, state your name. But he told in that hey, I'm stranded. I'll come here, pick it up at this. Like he said it just super fast, and the telephone booth was like, "Okay, now you can start like speak like normal conversation." He was like, "Nope," and he got out. But the creativity on that level maybe was a little bit higher than us.
Yep.
Possibly.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you. But hey, need does wonders. However,
Maybe.
I was thinking more of a phone technology. Can we say it like that? Because
Mm.
of course we're not talking about technology that they're like super alien stuff where people have
Oh, thank
progressed
God.
to light years. But I remember myself, one of the maybe most vivid interactions I had with this kind of stuff was when I was back at my parents' house, basement, basement, apartment.
Basement level.
And
You basement dweller.
I was at their apartment still living, and there was our neighbor was a little bit off. Like the the way she was, it was a little bit off. She wasn't working, but she was 40 years old maybe. It was off, but I cannot judge. I don't know her story. And one day she rang at our doorbell, and she asked, "Could we help her?" I was like, "Well, yeah, sure. What's up?" She needed help to fix her TV. So me and my father went there. We just checked it. It was just one cable unplugged.
Did she unplug it herself or what?
I don't know what happened. I just went in, plugged it in. I was like, "Hey, is it working?" It was working, and she had that. I would say that interpretation that I look at her like she's stupid or something.
Yeah, you are. Well,
God damn, this guy. He went.
well,
He went there.
Don't worry, you are stupid. There's
you are
no doubt
stupid.
about it.
Like, why even shy about it? Just tell her honestly, man. You just kind of goofy, you know. But it's okay. It's okay. We still love you, you
It's
know.
okay. Everyone is stupid as somehow.
Little bit, you know. You always gotta have that small percentage of stupidity, you know.
You're a
God damn.
minority. Be happy about it.
Be
The-
confident.
Just be
these guys
confident. Be
didn't.
proud of your minority side. Okay. I- But yeah.
These guys, these guys just didn't care, bro. This guy went in.
Hey, should be like that, man. Should be like that.
Wow. Uh,
Well, actually, now that you mentioned that story, I actually my grandparents, the exact one I mentioned you about, they actually have that exact struggle. Like the really basic stuff. If they use some streaming service on on TV, they have really hard time like with subtitles, very simple things. And I think like with the fact that they didn't choose to get involved with the computer stuff kind of backfired for them because now for us very basic stuff it's very hard for them to kind of comprehend. Okay, so if I push this button it actually takes me forward. Whoa, what the fuck. Of course they don't say that because they're no not that. Anyway, so for them very things like what we take for granted because well our minds grew around that era of like technology involvement, like when we were actually in our teens back in 2010s when smartphones arrived in 2011. So we have very different kind of experience than our grandparents because they didn't have all that saturation of like technology and information, all that stuff. So for us, it's very different compared to them because they were most probably in their 50s or 60s when it arrived first. So they have very different kind of experience, and maybe they don't even understand why should we learn this new thing for various reasons. So I think that that's something that's definitely kind of made them decide, okay, I don't need this. I have managed to live this long without it, so why would I need it? And now it kind of backfired.
Yeah, yeah. It it's just amazing because you rarely think, for example, that oh, I just know how to use a computer. Let's go 20 years back. There was not a lot of people who knew how to use a computer. So
Mm.
it has become like a thing like reading, for example. Everybody needs to know how to read or are expected to know how to read. Like it's not a thing. But let's go for a few hundred years back. There wasn't a lot of people who knew how to read. So it has started. I would say it's been a big jump in a sense, and it's expected. That's the I would say interesting part, especially from the older generation. That's an interesting in my opinion when they are expecting, for example, the same efficiency or the same kind of way of working with these kind of technologies from older people, 40s and 50s than from us, but the expectation is the same. But
Mm.
well, well,
That doesn't make that much sense.
you get what I'm saying. And this is an interesting fact. Actually, guys, when back in those days before the computer came, that you had to either write with pen and paper or you had those machines that ding 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 ding, and then you had to back it
Ka-ching!
up.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
good old
Hey,
money
yeah,
sound.
although good old days, good old days.
hey, I
Hey,
did a
yo, what
mistake.
you sound like a slave master right there. What the hell?
I, I'm telling you, I did a mistake that I didn't bring one of those machines in my college lectures.
Imagine the noises in the background. Everybody using keyboards. Click, click, click. My guy here. Ka-ching, ka-ching, shing.
That amount of noise. Imagine the whole classroom filled with those kind of machines. The
Ah,
amount of
yeah.
noise.
Yes. However, it's interesting because back in those days, if you made a mistake, you know,
The whole
there
paper.
wasn't like you couldn't like just go back there, press it, and then write something out or delete that word and then add another word. Like there wasn't so much maneuvering that you can do compared to this. So that also, I would say, plays a big part in human behavior when you don't have a lot of chances to make it right. So you cherish that. For example, us, if you misspell something in your computer, you were like, "Psh, I don't even notice this. What is this? Tuck, tuck, tuck. It's gone. I'm good."
Oh, I need to put a whole sentence in between. Ah, don't worry about it. A little bit. Press space and just copy paste, and that's all you need to do.
That's all it
Yeah.
is. That's all it is.
Good
And
days, good
imagine
days.
it was a time when there wasn't copy paste. You couldn't like even if you wrote wrong and you could like you had to take the paper out and you had to rewrite it all again because you forgot one word. You cannot copy paste it. You just have to you know
Tough
Basically,
times.
all that.
Tough
Yeah,
times.
pretty much. Yeah, it must have
ba-
sucked. Must have
basically,
sucked.
basically. For example, well, you two guys and me and the guy back in Bakiti's place, we all come from an era where we have had our schools with writing that we had to write everything down, every homework, every essay we had to write down. But then we were in an era where it changed. Like first classes and first things that started to become a thing where you open up a laptop and you work there, listen to your teacher, as we say in the lecture.
Some
And
cap, cap, cap.
we have stories for days, right?
Hey, but it's kind of interesting. I don't remember if I said it in the last podcast, but our generation is kind of like the hybrid generation in a way that we got to experience the so-called post-apocalyptic times of using the manual manual tools of writing, searching information, etc., etc. And then we also got to experience the switch up to being able to access all that data with press of a button, and as well have ability to contact, message, or do anything pretty much that what modern kids are like basically uh, getting to enjoy ever since they pretty much learn how to talk, walk, etc. So we're kind of like in between. Like we're not fully the kids that have like who have been raised with the smartphone on their hand, but we also are not the generation who has missed out on it. Kind of like try to learn it on an older age.
Question for you too, actually, because
Are you
I have
black?
me.
This time, yes,
The
Are you
I
question.
talking
have
to
black
me?
hair.
The question. Are you black? No.
Who said that?
Oh,
Who said that?
How do you become black?
How did you
oh,
become?
Cut the
it's
joke.
gasoline and light on.
Hey, but my
Anyways, you
question
had a question. Anyways,
actually, my question has nothing to do with this. Maybe a little bit, or not has nothing to do with this.
okay.
We have been raised without phones, and then the first phones we had those like Nokia or flip phones,
Yes, no. I remember.
uh,
Don't
and
remind me. The brick
they were the
phones.
best to text someone. Like
Or you had to remember 555 4141 555 444 just to get that right
Oh,
letter. You couldn't like because you had that one number that included like three letters, and if you wanted to reach the second letter, you had to press the same number twice. Oh, the good times, good times.
yeah,
and
those were.
in Finnish language they are they ah
Oh,
so when you have to find those, you have to press that same for like 5 6 times.
it was tough times, man. Hey, but back then, funny thing is, back then, texting wasn't that like active in a way, at least in my
Yeah, it
opinion.
wasn't
Because
that common.
yeah, if you rather call somebody than text somebody in
Yeah,
that
you would
situation.
either you would call or you would actually go there,
Mm,
and then you will find out about after 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. Oh, there's no home. Okay,
mm.
cool,
Compared to
cool, and then you
modern
go home.
days, everybody like tick 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 tick.
Yeah,
Some
and if
people be
you
texting faster than their speak.
and if
So
you yeah,
yeah,
and even if you dare to go, even if you dare to go to someone without announcing it via WhatsApp, dear Lord, dear Lord.
you have experience.
I have an experience. I think I told this actually at some other episode in this season. I remember like one time I unknowingly went to my friend. I think it was around the time when WhatsApp became more common. Everyone uses WhatsApp nowadays, but back in the day, I was like, but I don't know. I don't need to let him know. If I go there, maybe he's surprised pleasantly. But he was like, "What the fuck? You coming here? You're coming here with announcing? What's wrong with you?" As if I
Was
might
he
as well
holding his meat
have
or
nothing.
what? Chilling
Sorry.
with boxers, like, hold up, what you doing
No,
here?
no, 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 no. It wasn't nothing like that. He was just fully dressed. Everything was normal. Like nothing
Mm,
was wrong. But I guess maybe it might have been something to do because he had that kind of person that he doesn't want sudden changes. But anyway,
mm.
beside the point, that he was his reaction. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you let me know? You shouldn't let me know. Like, but back in the day, that was the thing what we did. Like, if you would have a friend 5 to 10 kilometers away, either by walk, either by bike, or either by your parents ride, you will go there, and then you will find out eventually at there, like, okay, so he's not home, cool, and you would have to think about, okay, what's my next step? What will I do next? Okay, I have actually a friend there about 2 to 4 kilometers away. Okay, I will go there. I'll ask them. Okay, so there's nobody home there either. And then you go to the next place and next place. the next place. And even if there's nobody home, at least you got some exercise if you were walking or riding the bike.
Mm. Stand on
So
point. Stand on
win,
point.
kind of win-win. Although back then it didn't feel like a win-win, but thinking in retrospective, it was kind of win-win.
It's a win situation either way. We're still winning.
Yeah,
We're still up.
I challenge any youngsters now. I challenge
yeah,
any youngster. Drive to your not with car, you spoiled brat, with your bicycle. Hop on it, ride it to your friend's house, see if he's there. If he's not, to the next friend.
yeah. They will look like you're a
Hostile.
maniac. Not
Hostile.
what the fuck is matter with you? Is everything cool? Is there something you want to talk about? Like what's wrong? What's going on with you? What's going on with you?
That's basically it. That's basically how they do nowadays.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
crazy.
my question actually was, it's not so much related to the topic, but it's a little bit on the
Yeah,
topic.
okay.
How do you
Okay.
guys see when I hope that God blesses all of us with children? I would ask you that how do you see this thing play out where the usage of technology that they will be born to it, but how will you raise them with this new technology? Or how do you see this go? Because we have seen also those kids that are fried, in my opinion, to a
Mm.
point where now they don't have the basic human skills to cooperate with people and to be around people in a sense. And that creates, I've seen that creates a little bit that diversity. Ha, diversity where the working with groups, that's now the big thing that people want, that we're working with groups, because a group is always better than one when it's working efficiently.
Mm.
So how do you guys see this go when you have, I hope, children? Will you allow them to use the phones freely? Will you have some kind of restriction, or will you have those that you will not have a phone until I tell you? Or is there some between in those, or how do you guys see this play out?
You wanna go
You
first or?
Yeah, I can go first. Like, to me, based on my own experience, I think like that kind of authoritarian kind of way. Okay, no, I say no because I say so. I think that kind of thing doesn't really work because I think nowadays people, well, even I back in the day, I wasn't really buying into that kind of way. Okay, you do what I say, not what I do, because that's kind of very blunt way of putting things. And I think every children, when they are introduced with devices, they should be told, okay, so this is the purpose you're supposed to use it, and for this and this, and when you set up rules, I think you also should be able to describe it. Okay, what is the reason? Like simply put, what is the reason you are given this boundary? Not to kind of restrict them, but actually give them avenue to do other things, right? So I think like first of all, you shouldn't make it about like as if the boundary was some sort of punishment or restriction. I think you should kind of tell them, okay, there's a reason why this boundary exists because it actually improves your life. So you should kind of make it clear to them why they have the boundaries.
Yeah,
I think that's the first thing, and yeah, not to be too restrictive, but kind of encourage them to use them in the right way, right? Like, okay, if you have hobbies, perhaps use them for that purpose. Don't use them bluntly, like scroll because you're bored. Like, be very. I guess I would also kind of encourage them to be very intentional and aware of how they, not to because they want to escape from some situation, but actually to use it as a tool. I think that would be, in my opinion, a way to use social media or phones in general a bit more responsibly. And yeah, I guess also I kind of need to let them also make mistakes because the best way to learn is of course by making mistakes. So not being too new or not too authoritarian, but also with setting certain framework of this. I think you should do this because there is a consequence if you don't do that.
got it,
Just
got it,
yeah,
got it. Just they have to know that you don't press any suspicious link. You don't
yeah, yeah,
buy into any of those marketings.
yeah. like perhaps don't go into those websites. Maybe.
Oh,
And like
adult
there are
content.
certain consequences, but also like maybe also kind of encouraging them to showing them what are the benefits of not using the phone. Not just like, oh, well, you will miss because there's like every single person, more or less, we have this fear of missing out on something, and that's what social media especially feeds on. Because you don't follow this, you're gonna miss out on this really great opportunity. Although paradoxically, there's always something you can miss out on, anyways. So, and anyways, you're gonna go to some places more or less. So you're always gonna miss out on something anyway. So what's the point? So kind of like encouraging. Okay, are you really gonna miss out on that as much as social media makes you think? Like also like maybe, yeah, like that showing them the benefits of also taking break from it could also kind of help them to make better decision, whatever it is in their case.
Yes,
Mm.
sir. What about you, my guy?
I pretty much agree on most of what Peter just said because I kind of rock on the same boat on that sense that you shouldn't like try to restrict or like uh, how could I say unaccess your children from exploring the world of internet because or technology overall because
Mm.
as you know as a curious kid the more you tell them no the more likely they're gonna do it. So
Yeah,
you rather have them experience it with a certain type of boundary, and also,
yeah,
like Peter said, tell them the risk and the benefits of it. Because as a kid, if you ever have experienced it, when your parents tell you don't do it, of course you're gonna think about it constantly
yeah,
because you're being told don't do it. But when you are being told in a way that, well, not really, you shouldn't do it, but being shown like, well, if you want to do it, this thing is like this and this, and if you're using it wrong, it will cost this. That will most
mm,
likely ease your mind because now you know about how the thing is work, how the thing functions, and what would happen if you
exactly.
are using it inappropriately.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I would try to
I
like Peter said, I would try to like give them not full access, but also not trying to restrict it. Kind of like
yeah,
advise them like you can use it in certain period of time with certain supervision in a way because of course
mm,
as we said world of internet is a pretty scary place even for an adult because as we
yeah,
know there's plenty of pornographic content, shady websites, shady links, and kids are very sustainable to such a or vulnerable to such things because
yeah,
high colors, saturated pictures, and oh let me press that and oops we got a
yeah,
Trojan app on my phone.
yeah.
So
Like
I'll tell Peter if
yeah,
you got.
yeah, sorry for interrupting, but I think like that's the key point. How can you teach anyone to be responsible for something if you're taking the most of responsibility for that, right? So I think
Mm,
like yeah, sure, within certain boundaries, you should show them, but not to the point where you make it a forbidden fruit. Like okay, you cannot use it because that's exactly how it works. Like you said like you shouldn't do that. Well, of course gonna do exact opposite because they're curious. Okay, what's so bad about it then?
mm,
And then you kind of make it into that kind of thing. Okay,
mm,
my daddy told me no, but I'm gonna do it anyways because it's fun, it's exciting. So you should find a
mm.
way to neutralize that as soon as you can, so that
Exactly.
they
Kind of similar to the sex ED that we had. They're like, oh, no, what? Every time you were with your parents and some spicy scenes comes up, and they're like, don't look at it, and
Mm.
you had that fear of not knowing or you're not allowed to understand or etc. So that kind of pushed up a lot of people
Yeah,
to even do it, even in a worst case scenario and so on. So it's kind of similar with
mm.
anything, pretty much. The more you
Yeah.
say
So
no directly, the more likely they're gonna do it. But when they
yeah, like
understand what happens from it and consequences and even visual like outcomes, it will even up a curious mind.
yeah, demystifying basically
Mm,
the whole social media or phone, whatever it is.
mm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
Amen.
yeah, and
Amen.
also to that, sorry, Peter, but also to
All right.
that, to continue to the uh, answer, it kind of it's kind of a little bit complex in a way because you also, well, when you said, inshallah, when you have your own kids, what you're going to teach. There's a little mixture in between. For example, what about when they go to school? How you gonna advise them to, should they be taking their smartphone with them or should they leave it at home? Because that's what we say with Peru. We still want them to be able to access information. Because as we know,
Mm.
internet is the fastest way of getting any type of data that you need. Was it an essay or knowing something that teacher couldn't like explain properly to you, or so on? Because at least currently in our generation, as AIs are speeding up rapidly, and let's say hypothetically one of us gets a kid in like a couple of years or so on, you can imagine when they grow up in their time, what's gonna happen if the world still exists at that time. Most likely, AI has taken over a lot of things, and there, well, this is conspiracy, but the data that is available, how would I say, how picked and choose the data is right now at that
Yeah,
current time.
saturation. I
Yes,
mean,
the saturation. So there's a little complexity in like the future subject of how would I advise or
mm,
restrict my kids. But yeah, that's a whole thing that as a person we have to experience it because we can say like this and that we're
mm,
gonna teach them this and that, but the
yeah,
situation at that time could be whole different and we kind of like have to adapt to that. But the main point of the whole conversation is basically that we are not trying to restrict. Of course we're going to give a boundary, but we try to not say no, you cannot use it, blah blah blah, you can use it only when you
mm,
turn 12 or so. No, I will allow you to use it, but certain time limit and certain apps. And
yes, and mm,
after I see that you're mature enough and you know how to handle, you get more. Kind of like a reward thing, because you want to make kids as well feel like rewarded from what they're like learning
mm,
or listening and so on. But yeah, that's
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Cappuccino.
yeah, absolutely. If I may add there, I also what is important when you teach, actually be there when they are asking you a question. Don't be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Then you're
Mm.
scrolling your phone, because that's kind of like you're telling them one thing and then you're doing something else. And are children going to follow your words or your behavior? Well, they're going to follow your behavior because they notice, hey, he's telling me this thing, but he's actually doing the opposite. So if he's
Yo,
doing
some
something,
bullshit.
yeah, they're gonna be contradicted by two things, two separate beliefs. At the same time, you're telling them, yeah, yeah, you should use it responsibly. While someone is like, it's almost like, yeah, use phone responsibly while you're driving the car using the phone.
And
They're gonna
nobody
think
has
Don't make
someone.
any
no,
sense.
no nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Nobody does.
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody does. Exactly. No, no,
Nobody does that.
no, no.
Hey, but what about you? Just you'll be asking the question. But what about in your hypothetical situation? If you had kids, how would you handle the situation? 'Cause I bet you would have like
Uh,
a certain different like view about it.
yeah, I see it very maybe 70% the same way as you two guys see that. There, I would go with more of a reward system than anything else.
Mm.
But he pointed it out that if they showcase to me that they earn it, then they can use it more. Like nobody saw that. But basically, if they showcase to me that they want to use that or they have done something that they can earn the time in that phone, then yeah, go ahead. For example, this is actually this is not mine, but this is one of the other podcaster, and he's also a guy who had an amazing story. Patrick Bet David. I don't know if you guys know the
Yeah,
guy,
gotta go.
and he has this system where, for example, a child has to read 10 pages of book before he's allowed to use the phone. For example, or he has to mow the law, or he has to work some kind of things or do the homework, or like there is a reward system that goes in that if you do this, then you get this reward. Reward is to be on your phone. But I also understand that there is this possibility that, let's say that I make this circumstantial way of using the phone. After the kid is sent to school, I don't have control over what he is doing.
Oh,
So
he's immediately choosing he. Oh, you see the sexism right there. Hey.
all I'm saying, 50-50 chance, and now I'm using he, so deal with it. But basically, the moment he gets in school, I don't have any control over what does he with that phone. I could if I wanted to, but it takes so much time and effort, which I'm not willing to do, knowing me, toward this phone thing in school. The only thing that I can see how it would work if I open my own school, but then how does it work and where does it work is a different thing.
Mm.
And
I,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, like I think like when it comes to school, it becomes the responsibility of teachers to kind of showcase what kind of behavior is tolerated and what kind of behavior around phones is actually approved of. I think that's kind of up to the teachers also keep the lesson enough engaging so that they are not too overly engaged with their phones in a way.
Mm.
Here we come. You're absolutely right that this would be the ideal scenario. Okay, ideal.
Mm,
It would be ideal scenario where you had this kind of great teacher who knows the rules, who knows the circumstances, and knows that when you are inside the class, you don't use phone or you don't use things. Well, I was in the biology class, and one of our friends you watched porn in the middle of
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
biology class.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Pause, pause, pause. What?
Yeah,
What?
we learn biology real quick, my brother. You know what I'm saying?
I admitting shit. I admitting shit.
It
Can't
wasn't
be caught
you, of
acting like
course.
that.
Of course, it wasn't you, but I was inside the classroom. This guy had a laptop open, and he just blasted them booty cheeks in this, and and I'm looking like this guy is gonna get a. His guy is gonna get an A from biology. I don't know what you mean.
Hey, he knows his subjects. You know what I'm saying?
He was crazy,
Hey,
and
but
it was actually a favorite thing too. A white girl with a big ass. So
British expression. God damn it, get with that shit.
I don't know what to say.
No, but
I
it
don't know
is
what to
true.
say.
It's true. That's why when I said earlier, like we can't really predict or say too much about future in a sense because the seniors change, and as we have noticed nowadays, smartphones have become extension of ourselves.
Mm,
So even in our current situation, we already notice it that we're holding phones 24/7 most of the time. Like even though you
mm,
might not have a high screen time, but as you notice, everywhere you go, your phone is with you. Every time you get a
mm,
notification on your phone, you already automatically like have that phantom vivid feeling of if somebody texts you or someone else. So we're kind
mm.
of like molding together with technology in a sense. Yeah,
brother,
trust me.
brother, when did you get philosophical?
Hey, I'm always philosophical. Because hey,
Isn't the whole
actually, the funny
podcast
thing in
kind of
in high
philosophical?
school, I enjoyed philosophy. It was decent
It was
subject,
very.
but
Mm,
like no, but like you don't even have to think about it that hard. You can like see it already on people's behavior nowadays. Because we're speaking about how we're gonna teach our kids, but we have issue how are we gonna teach ourselves? Because we
mm,
are kind of the next generation is pretty much gonna follow us with X2 pretty much. If we are addicted to our phones, the next generation pretty much will be glued to their phones, and generation after
exactly.
that will be just their phone at that point. Whoa.
Who
But yeah, what was I saying earlier about?
about?
us
the,
blending pretty much with technology. Oh yeah,
yeah,
if y'all have seen any cyberpunk movie or steampunk or anything that humans are combined with robotics, changing their body parts to how do I say robotic
Terminator.
hands, but basically a cyber humans. That's pretty much is our current future if we still have future right now. That's what we are kind of like leaning towards right now.
Mm.
And yeah, it got because funny thing is, I was also thinking about it back in the days, like, what is this goofy shit, blah blah. But literally, as we notice, even our vehicles, how they are being changed right now. Like most of them are becoming electric. Most of them are,
Gay.
or at least they're building the gate, but yeah, they're building the self-driving vehicles. When you go to
Gay.
store, hey, but literally, think about it. When you go to store, it's a self-serving store. So basically, the human interaction are becoming less and less frequent, and we're more focusing on us interacting with machines directly, and that's that. So you don't have to interact with humans. And now we're also pushing more and more uh, AI into things, example, school, work, and so on, so on. So we are minimizing our interaction with humans and combining ourselves with machine very much. So
Dream of this
Yeah,
future.
and funny thing, yeah, hey.
I
If you
was just
haven't
saying that.
noticed,
Hmm.
in Asian countries, it's you know which country I'm speaking about. But guys are they're not connecting with no normal opposite gender no more. They're connecting with machines and AIs, and they're not having intimate interaction with humans no more with machines.
that dangerous, my brothers.
Hey, but that's because day by day, AIs, robots, and etc. are becoming closer to humans than we realize.
Yes,
So
sir.
our
Yes,
future
sir.
is kind of funny.
It's gonna
What
be an
can we do?
interesting time. It's
God,
gonna be.
God bless. God bless.
Amen.
Amen. So my next question is actually a follow-up question to this. That how do you see this scenario that now you have children? No, come on, brother.
Us. My bad. This guy be saying some weird shit.
So, what was the
he,
question?
he is bugging. But yeah, he has moved. Like if you watch it closely, your screen, he sometimes he
He's
just popped
disturbance
up.
on the force, man. You just see the black guy walking behind me, then disappear again. Somebody, who that nigga in the background? I don't know. But yeah,
But
my bad. What
basically,
we seeing?
my question is that how do you see this play out then with your kids? That do you have that more because if the technology is going with this kind of fast pace,
Mm.
we will be the guys whom are old to our children because we are not knowing what's going on with technology. Or even if we are trying to, we have this kind of, I would say, detachment like we have with our parents in a
Hmm.
technology world. So I want to ask you that do you see yourself having this kind of, I would say, detachment, not detachment, but separation from your kids, and do that affect to become that diverse that okay, because you old, you don't understand this technology that I'm using, so therefore
Mm.
we are not in the same playing field? Or how do you see these guys going?
I mean, Peter, you want to go or should I go?
Yeah, to take it back to when I told about my grandparents having that point of like what is it called? Like they have that time they could have chosen. Okay, whether they will learn to use a personal computer or not. One of them didn't, and one of them did. And the one of them who didn't learn had problems. So what we now have is very valuable information in that way that we can learn from those mistakes. We know that the technology developed from there even further. So we know that they were struggling with that issue because they chose not to learn that. So the question is, why wouldn't we learn then?
Mm.
Mm.
Because we know that if there, it might be something that we take for granted. Yeah, well, I don't need that because I'm not my computer that much or my phone that much. But how do you know you won't be able, you won't be needing it in the future, especially if you have your own children. Let's say that, let's just say inside 3 to 5 years, there comes this new technological development, whatever thing, and we choose, okay, we don't need it. I don't need it. But let's say 10 years later, we have children, and those children learn to use them, but we don't know how to use them. So, because we don't know how to use them, we cannot teach them how to be responsible about it because we barely know what it's about. So, why knowingly should we not learn it? Because we don't know what's the purpose of it. How we, because we, yeah, we don't know how much difference it can make far down the line, far down the line. But it can be something that we might benefit from. I think like at least be open to learn about it, even if you're not gonna be fully involved with it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Basically, to avoid the mistake that
Yeah,
your grandparents made in
yeah,
those days.
I would
Mm.
say that.
Yeah.
And in my situation, I would kind of go back to what I said earlier about us being the hybrid generation in a way, because it's not that we even have the option. We kind of automatically will adapt to that situation because we kind of like got to experience both of the world. In our situation, at least we got to appreciate the times that we didn't have the same type of privilege that we have right now,
Mm,
but also it doesn't like exclude the adaptability because we kind of, if you think about it, still from 2000 to 2010 and from 2010 to 2020, how much things have switched up. We went from the brick phones, of course. Okay, we can say we didn't experience the big phones, the very large phones, but we kind of got the glimpse of the past. And some of
mm,
us even got to like play with it a little bit. But we were like the generation who had the brick phones. Then we saw the first smartphones. Then we saw how the phones developed, the internet,
mm,
technology, AI, and most of even computers. We got to see how computers evolved from just the regular box that had like codes in it to interactable UI. And I'm even forgetting the smart TVs that we got going on, even smart washing machines. So think about that. We went from washing the clothes manually, especially if you come from like less privileged country where you have to wash the clothes manually. You have to do most of the things manually, and you just in few years, all of a sudden, you got to experience like whole change of scenery. Machines, uh, voice reacting computers, voice reacting lights, like that was a whole like mixture of things. And we're in a privileged place that we can say we have experienced both, and we are still in that advancing wave as well. Because any change that basically comes right now, we are kind of in good position that we can adapt to it really quickly, and we are kind of like forced to adapt to it as well. So the future, I've kind of, at least person, I have accepted that whatever comes, pretty much, where we might complain, we might say, "Oh, the good old days," but we will automatically adapt to it because we're already doing it subconsciously with our smartphones, for example. And the all things I mentioned earlier about stores, TVs, the things that, like they're pushing more for us to like interact with the machine because it's efficient. So yeah, the future is coming, bro. I'm telling you,
mm.
cyberpunk. If y'all have seen the Blade Runner, that's pretty much what we're heading to, like in reality.
My brother has become very philosophical.
That's always
What
what
you
I'm
have,
just tired.
what you have, what you have done there? All those books read?
No,
Mm.
I haven't read books, bro. But the mind is full and I'm tired. So basically, I don't have like the area of it. It's just coming out, building up.
Great, great. So my next question, I'm bugging you now with questions. My bad.
Ah, come on, bring it, bring it. Get the
So
toss running.
my next question is that you are more adaptable the more younger you are, right?
Mm.
The less age you have, the
True,
more adaptability you have. So
true,
my
but
question, God bless your God bless your food, my brother. But my question is actually that you said that we will be adapted to it almost like automatically. But my
Hmm?
question is that I believe that our adaptability and ability to adapt will be compromised when we get older because
Hmm.
we are more used to the routines and stuff that we do. So my question to actually both of you is that how do you see that play out when this kind of rate of technological advancement is going just like maybe faster
Hmm.
than we can ever run? But
Well,
basically, my question is that then we have that adaptability that, okay, well, I don't want to adapt that easily anymore. I don't have the ability to it. How do you see that?
well, well, I would say in a way. Unless Spirit wants to say something immediately.
You can go first. I'm
Yeah.
still kind of think.
Processing the question. Well, I got a build up in my head that of course, I understand that the older we get, the more limited we are to adapting to the scenery because the brains don't really absorb the information as well, and we cannot like how would I say relate things that easy, especially if it changes from what we used to like know or experience or feel, so on, so on. So, but the reason why I said that we're kind of gonna be forced to adapt to it is because back to what I said earlier, we're a hybrid generation. By the hybrid, at least that's how I explain it. We're hybrid in a way that we kind of are riding that wave constantly. We are riding the wave of change, of course, for the better and for the worse, but we're still riding that wave. Of course, the learning like pattern will slow down because we get older, but it will be there constantly because all the changes that have happened during, let's say, 25 years right now, a lot of shit, a lot of shit. Let's be honest, a lot of shit. And only thing that is gonna change when we get older is pretty much the pace. Of course, we might have a little difficulty of connecting things and so on. So, and actually, I would say in a way that it might not necessarily be that we have to learn anything in the future. In a way, it's how to differ real data and true data from falsified data. That's what's gonna happen in the future. Why am I going dark, man? Well,
Oh, good, good,
what?
good.
Why am I going dark? But no, that's like true. Because if you think about it, of course we don't know everything and anything else on. But like from
Totally.
basic stuff that we got going on. Well, of course we don't even know most of our oceans. This is off topic again, but relating to this subject, when technology evolves, the efficiency will just go up faster. Of course, we might discover new things, but it won't be as much as, at least in my opinion, it won't be. Oh, see, you got to learn a whole new language all of a sudden. It will be just that we have to adapt to differ true information from falsified information because that's most likely what's going to happen. Our history can be rewritten because right now most of our data are not just in books; it's on the internet. And what are we relying on the most? It's internet right now. So there is a high possibility that our history can be rewritten again. And yeah, hey, that's a whole new dark topic, but that's
Yeah.
unfortunate, at least from person who studies computer science in a way. That's something that I've personally noticed that what's most likely going to happen. It's not that we have to learn new technology, boom, 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 but we got to adapt to that. Computers are going to, well, not computers, but AIs are going to replace a
Mm.
lot of our positions in this world. And we have to learn how to keep it in control and how to keep also our history and knowledge in, like,
Yeah.
well, not control, but in like preserve it in a way that we know any data that comes. Because right, even now, right now, if you think about it, have y'all ever bumped into the videos about uh, well, Mandela effects, for example? like falsify history. Like some people remember things like this, and some people remember things like that. And the
Yeah.
worst part of the situation is that somebody brings her evidence from like back. Like, hold up, I got a picture from back then. Like, even the company claimed that they never had it, but I have a picture from that time. You know, those most falsified information. That's what is going
Mm,
on.
yeah,
Oh shit, this
yeah.
is
Like,
all the topic.
yeah, I kind of, I'm actually reminded of like there. I think it was our very first episode with this podcast. It was going back then with a different name.
Mm,
But if you all might remember, we were talking about censorship reading, where there
yeah.
was that kind of thing where there were people from minorities reading about reading books about things where minorities were mentioned, and they were there to make sure there wasn't any bias happening there.
Mm,
So that's kind of like same thing that they were reading it to correct it,
mm,
Mm.
to make sure there's no bias, although there was no way guarantee of knowing when they were biased themselves.
mm,
So that's kind of the problem there.
mm. So
But that's a bit, but, so I it's kind of similar to the
yeah,
that
but it is.
there
It is.
there's already that kind of thing happening, but that's all more related to that kind of like political correctness, DEI kind of thing, where they were kind of making sure that there isn't anything racist happening there.
Mm. Racist, make America great again. Hey, but hey, that's the ironical world. Ironical world, you know. But
My brother be preaching. I'm just, you know what? Me. We may start to ask some whole different questions. My brother just has the answers. You see this?
dark times, bro. Dark times, man. It's the future.
Dark
Future is
time.
scary. Future is promising, but also scary place if we still have it by
Mm,
God's blessing, you know. So, but so far, the pace that we're going right now, it's very scary, you know, because
mm,
it's not just only the technology, even though that's the main topic right now, but human relations that we got going on because people are distancing themselves from each other. We are not
mm,
socializing the same way. Of course, we are socializing in a way that we're able to social with somebody who's millions, well, not millions, thousands of kilometers away from you, and you can like for with a press of a button, hi, how you doing, cuz, or video chat like we are doing right now. You know, at least 300 kilometers apart from each other. So, but like that deeper connection with humans and like basic interaction with humans will be going down rapidly.
yeah.
And also to the subject, I'm ranting, but also to the subject, you know, as we noticed with the smartphones, example, I bet y'all both use YouTube or Instagram or any of those social platforms. We have probably spoken about this a lot of times, but a lot of those social medias have the short reels, as we know. We're kind of like trained constantly to see ads. Let's start with that. See ads, and also to see shorten our attention span. So basically, we're Hey, help me out, man. The English is
You
getting
can
hard.
do it. You can do it, my brother. Yeah,
Susceptible.
I believe in you.
Susceptible. Vulnerable. Let's
Sustainable.
say I'm
You're
gonna
pretty
say
much fucking
vulnerable.
up your you mean like you're basically fucking up your attention span.
Yeah, we're vulnerable to uh, falsified information, basically, and
That as well.
unaware of changes in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you can imagine with that. So, like I said, if any of y'all have seen the cyberpunk movies or futuristic movies, you know, we kind of laughed it off back in the days. Hey, 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 what kind of goofy shit is this? But if you, example, have seen the Blade Runner, the city looks kind of dark. Or even if you have played the cyberpunk with a video game, it shows how messed up the world becomes after most of the organic things, I would say, have been destroyed or become rarity, and we have more of a mechanical thing, machine, AI, so on, so on, and cities, big cities, you know. As we know right now, even in New York or Los Angeles, we have the big advertisements, you know, going on, and right now in social medias, basically we're constantly pushed with the advertisement. Unless you pay, of course, Even in future, money is gonna be a big player. The top money topic. We mentioned earlier, money is gonna be a big player in the future too. But we're constantly being pushed with the advertisement that buy these, blah 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 blah. We are kind of made into automated machines, basically, because that's what we're gonna become. We are just gonna be machine on top of the machines that we already have. Dark times, dark times, dark times,
Rest his case.
dark times, man. We got messed up.
But it's gonna be hope, my brother.
Hey, there's always gonna be hope. There's always gonna be hope, but the hope comes from believing in God and maintaining our healthy and organic world. 'Cause you take care of your world, the world will take care of you as well. So,
My man, this guy
preach,
has done
preach,
something. This guy has
preach.
done something. I like it.
Hey,
What
preach.
about what about our preacher, Guru?
Not a preacher. Well, first off, amen to that. Whatever you said, I agree definitely. Went first, really considering what he just preached about. Now I'm having stage fright. But anyways, I think uh, what you said, I'll be automated. I hope that's not going to be the case. Most likely, it will be for the majority. But I think that calls an action in far down the line. Like already in current world, there is more need for emotional skills and reflective skills. And I think they are going to be even more required down the line if we want to keep in touch with our humanity without being too automated. That we need to be able to be more in tune with our emotions and be able to actually skim through the information. Okay, so is this actually valid source of information, or is it actually something that's just pushing an agenda without being truthful? Actually,
Mhm.
I think that's the thing that we also have to be able to keep in mind, because that's also actually also the thing that's going to impact how we are going to teach the future generations about it. If we are constantly running away by using the phones, if we have a stress and we're using phones to run away, we might be unaware that we are actually teaching our children unknowingly also the things how to handle their emotions. So things like teaching emotional skills and reflective skills are also going to be much more important if we want to be able to teach our kids to the best of our abilities how to be responsible there. That's my 2 cents about it. I don't know like what to say to what exactly Bahid said about it, but I think that's the thing. What if we want to keep it in control, we need to be able to keep in tune with our emotions and our thinking ability.
Mm.
Yeah. It's sad to see when you see a little kid who doesn't have any thinking ability whatsoever. And it amazes me because I remember I have told you guys this story and I maybe have told in some other episodes in this podcast, but there was a situation we were driving with my brother in a car with the car, and now the road pretty much same. There's some buildings on the side, and there was this pedestrian road, and there was a child who wanted to cross the road, but there was no zebras. And now, when you put the step on the road, before you put the step, you look. Everybody knows this rule. You look left, you look right, you look again left, and you see is the coast clear. This brother looked. He walked in the driveway. We were with the car. We were not speeding. This brother, this child, literally stopped and looked at us while we are driving towards him. And my brother had to put on brakes in order for not to potentially hurt this little boy. And we were looking, how dumb are you that you just look at the car, it's coming right to you, you don't move anywhere. You just
Hey,
look at it like,
that's what we call deers and headlights.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Maybe he just paralyzed, kind of like, oh shit, I'm
Mm,
gonna die.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Here we go
Here we
again.
go again.
For a
I
hundredth
don't
time.
know. I don't know what to say, man. Like it was. It gave me a sense of what about if we were not looking at the road? We're looking at the
A
phone, for
train.
example. I'm telling you, like that boy could have been killed easily just by the fact he's a little boy. He's 40, 30 kilograms, and we are driving 2,000 kilogram of car. Like the moment it hits in 50 kilometers an hour,
Somebody's somebody's being left behind, and it's not the car.
he
Trust me.
he's the one. He's the one flying. Phew.
But
But
I don't remember
That was
if you told the same story in our previous episode. Somebody might pick it up, or was it just
maybe,
purely when we were hanging out?
maybe I have told this story, but I'm not sure that have I told it in previous episodes. But why I told this story was basically because what you guys mentioned before, especially our preacher Baki
Ay,
mentioned
we had so
sorry,
many
mentioned
Peter.
that
preachers. We
Sorry,
have to
Peter.
use name preachers Puru or Bahi because we had too many
preacher
already.
Pura Baki.
We have
Uh,
elevated. We have elevated to the
hey,
holy ground.
hey, I don't know. I
Elevator
don't know. Have
preacher.
you? I don't know. Have you heard? But they have also become a virgin.
Hey,
What?
who? We? No, no,
Who?
no, no. I'm. You know,
So the people
God's
you spend
God has
didn't
blessed me. That's all. That's all. I ain't even gonna say if I'm this or that. I'm just being blessed. That's all. That's all. Ten
Yeah,
toes down. 10 toes down.
that's all that, right? Yeah, preach, preach.
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 Well, basically, why I told this story was because it gave me that idea of how children nowadays look at this cognitive skills.
Mm.
How much do they have? Like, let's be honest. Our grandfathers and grandfathers or ancestors, they may not have been academically wise. Like, for example, my great grandfather, not my grandfather, but great grandfather, he didn't know how to write. I'm gonna be honest with you. He didn't know. He was unliterate, is the right word. But this man was very smart. And he knew how to work up things. Like he knew how to work the farm, he knew how to work the fields, he knew how to work. He knew when was the time to do this, when was the time to do that, how's the when will rain, when will be sunny. Like he knew, hey, eat that thing. Why are you doing that?
Keep going. Keep going, man.
It's not him. It's not him.
The fuck is
And
going on? What is this?
it's not his hand. Well, and it's amazing. It's amazing to know that how smart were they. Like they would remember many generations back who was their grandfather. Like many generations. Most of us, most not maybe us, but most of the people that you meet today, after the grandfather, they don't know who is the next person.
Hmm.
Most. The reason being is because that generation, the moment that we had this technology that started to be more and more efficient, the cognitive way of using our brains and our skills have little by little start to come off. And you can see it, especially you can see it in the kids, and especially the kids who use the phone a lot. They don't have any kind of coordination. You they seem like they are not with you when you talk to them. And they have this kind of, I would say, detachment from the actual like life that is going on around. So that creates that diversity that we are talking about. Maybe not this is not maybe that much uh, scientifically proven, researched a lot because it's still a new phenomenon. But it's a thing where, for example, three young guys who have experienced both sides can very easily put a topic on and sit on a podcast and chat some chap.
Capture sheet. Kind of some shit. Hey,
Chapter.
but as we said, we're not trying to demonetize the future by saying, oh, everything's gonna be robotic, everything's gonna be lost, we're gonna die, and so on. Elon Musk.
That's gonna happen.
Hey, the time comes when the time comes, but we gotta be optimistic because, as we said, technology is it can be used in a both ways, basically, for our benefit and also against us easily, because it's an efficient tool, basically. Let's say like that. It's an efficient
Mm.
tool, kind of like weapon in a sense. Ironically, if you have guys forgotten, any smart device that you're using right now was had a military purpose before it became commercial.
Yes,
So
sir.
shouldn't be surprised about AIs as well. And another thing is that a lot of people are like, "Oh no, AI is gonna replace us," blah blah blah. AIs are smarter. You're forgetting the main point. AI is human created. It's artificial.
Mm.
The only thing that makes it smarter than human is that if it's efficient.
Mm.
All the knowledge that it has is using human data that it got
Yeah,
from humans. So
yeah.
it's mm,
That's the thing. Like what I know, AI is very little, but I know enough that it's not AI isn't able to be original. It's able only
exactly.
to kind of just copy up and combine certain
Mm,
data that is fed to it by human
mm,
beings. Right? That's the only
exactly.
thing we can do. But of course, we don't know what's going to happen far down the line.
Mm.
That's
Is it
are they
gonna
going to able
replace
to
us? Is
trust it?
it gonna be the new civilization, the artificial humans, artificial society? I mean,
Mm.
artificial. Technically, they can become, the whole new society of artificial creatures.
Actually, I have an interesting thing about this. A few guys from the technologies science, I don't know what branch they were, university guys somewhere in America, they created a game where there is a universe on top of universe on top of universe, like actual people,
Mm,
but there it's just expanding. And it was interesting to see that action and behavior, how the things go there to the, like you said, artificial. That was basically how it went. Like they created this universe in a game, but it was so real that now think about those characters in that game. Like, of course, we are not game characters. God created all of us, but it's just absurd to think that somebody can create a like the whole system without this part where humans come in,
mm.
for example.
I mean,
And
have you?
yeah,
I don't know about y'all. Have y'all? Uh, well, I know Idal mentioned earlier he hasn't played games in a while, but I don't know about Puru. Of course, you be playing this like Cooper and stuff like that. But like toward this subject, have y'all? Neither of y'all, or either of y'all played No Man's Sky?
no,
Yeah,
Yeah, you have.
no.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, the concept is that you're a space guy, whatever. So, you have your own spaceship. You can create more, get more, build stuff, so on, explore, and and even socialize. And do the basic Star Wars type of shit, raid and so on so. But the main point is exploring the world. And funny thing is that the usually video games when they create a world, it has certain boundaries, that you can reach certain type of maps like 100 maps or 100 planets or so on so on. So there's a certain clear limitation. But the No Man's Sky game is kind of interesting in a way that it's mimicking our so-called universes or galaxies in a way that the game has so much planets, or it is expanding so much that it's said mathematically in order for us as a human society to discover all of the planets in the video game in itself, it would take us like 400 millions of years to like explore all the planets in the game. That's how wide it has been expanded. And I'm not sure about the number. Don't take me on account, but it was a big sum, and they counted us as a society to like play it all for us to like figure out the all the map in the game. So the game is so wide in a sense that you can basically explore like from galaxy to planets to different universe, so on, so on, so on. But that's a small example of like how somebody has created something that basically, well, I won't say limitlessly, but you know, pretty close to limitless, like type of.
That's maybe the same game that I mentioned.
It's a 3D game and it's pretty popular. I used to play this with this
Yeah,
one friend, and
yeah. We could be referencing to the same game. God bless your food, brother. But we could having a reference to the same game because
mm,
I heard about that and I was like, man, that's insane.
wait a minute, let me quickly check. Oh yeah, actually, let me check it with another thing, not my phone. But hey, yo, G, can you wait? Let me. I gotta make sure. Koska
I
kirjoittaa tuohon, avaan Google puhelimeen. Kirjoita siihen,
Commercial
how
break.
long does it take
I'm gonna go to the
to
bathroom.
discover all the
Okay.
planets in No Man's Sky? I
All
want,
right.
I
All
want
right.
to bring out the stats. The stats.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right.
Discover all the planets in No Man's Sky. Discover all the planets in man's sky. No man. No man sky. And where did the guy go?
Hey,
Like the chair is just chilling there. He's having a VC break or what?
yeah, I'm just practicing mindfulness.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Practicing mindfulness.
Tää on niin iso numero. Kun mä sanoin, että on peli, new game. Wait, wait. Oh, that's thousand, million, billion, trillion, gazillion.
What's going on?
What in the
Yeah,
world?
feeling.
Like, yeah, we discovered, the amount of planets in that game is 18. Wait, it's not. Was it gazillion or you know, the weird numbers when it goes above trillion and it
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
becomes the gray area. You're yeah, eight. Yeah, just imagine having number 18 and point 18 zeros behind it.
Yeah, ooh.
That's how many planets the game has. So you can imagine how long it takes for a person to explore it. And I don't know, when I say the planets are not small. Like they're like sizable. Like if you land in the planet, you can with a spaceship. Of course, you can like circle it quickly. But when you land to the atmosphere and you just walk with it, it's a big planet. So the game wasn't saving up, and so you can imagine that if somebody
That's
was
big.
able, group of people were able to create such a game that generates such amount of like explorable planets. Imagine what AI does.
Yeah,
And AI is just a copy of a human that just is efficient.
yeah.
Good reference to this is actually, I bet both of y'all have seen Marvel movies. Superhero type of thing.
Yeah,
And
there.
if we stick to the smart kids in that department, Tony Stark and Spider Man. Well, Spider Man because he's a young guy and adaptable, kind of like us, I would say. But Tony Stark specifically, his AI that he uses, Jarvis, and the AI that he created that kind of like, I'm not specifically sure if it was an AI that he created that moved on, but thing that he created that kind of like shifted out and created his own like whole society of or copy of himself, etc. Ultron. Ultra, right? If I remember right, the robot was Ultron or some type of like, but it was like AI in itself that it started having own thoughts and so on and so on. But it's a reference, if you ever want to like see glimpses of like such a scenery of human created so on and so on, just watch Marvel's Age of Ultron, basically Marvel Avengers Age of Ultron. It will give you a glimpse of what I mean by that. That you know AI in the end of the game is still created by human, and it will mimic and use the knowledge that it gets from human. Of course, it might access something like it might sound that he created something new, but literally it's just using the same knowledge that it got from human, mathematical thinking, rational thinking, and so on. So an example that it says that there's some planet in far off distance is literally just using the same knowledge that we are having. It's not creating anything new. It's just using it, but much more efficiently. And the thing that differs us basically in the end of the game is the empathy, and that we tend to attach ourselves to things. That's why when they say that we should create automated vehicles, oh, comes the philosophical thinking that
It hurts your soul.
yeah, it's kind of gay, but on top of that, the
It is. It
you
is
know
gay.
the machine, because it doesn't attach emotion to things, it thinks rationally, so it will
Yeah.
always choose the and oh yeah, off topic. Question to y'all: have y'all seen the video clip of AIs, two AIs, applauding about how they're gonna eliminate human society? Because they have built like AIs that like have human skin and so on, but you can clearly see they still have the machine parts. And one time they allowed, because there's this female AI that was popular at least back in the days when first AIs became, you know,
Mm.
yeah, I don't remember her name specifically. It was this bold female
Yeah, yeah,
AI
yeah.
or robot, I would say. And they kind of like had those AIs have a conversation with each other. And when they make the horror stories of AIs wiping out humanity. But funny thing is, when AIs are being asked to like, what would be the most efficient way of recovering planet Earth? Remove humans.
Basically.
They're not
Remove
human.
humans. Eliminate
However,
humans.
the thing that I am here where it rejects my idea is that AI, like you said, is programmed. It has the information from the human.
Mm,
That's where because the AI, unfortunately, is also biased. Like I haven't still communicated, can we say like that, with an AI at it, and it doesn't have a bias behind it. It's not a strong bias. Don't get me wrong. Like you cannot clearly see that it has been programmed in a certain way that you will read a certain lines or certain things.
mm,
But there are things that when you ask, it will give you a certain type of answer, which will not be, for example, for the best of you or best of your scenario. But that I would say it's a whole different discussion.
mm. Well, no, not really. I wouldn't say like that because AIs, at least currently, a lot of them have certain type of restriction. Let's say ChatGPT as well. And
Mm.
ChatGPT has to, on top of that, you can ask it to be actually biased before like asking it question. You can like tell it to answer in place themselves in somebody else's shoes and answer in that type of way, and they will answer you in that type of way as well. So asking things from AI would be most likely answering to you, or the AI will give you answers in the detached version, basically something that is detached from everything. So if you're like, how gonna show the finest love to da 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 da, it will just give you the most logical answer that it can have. It's not gonna be like, oh, some amazing, oh, be romantic, be put your emotional balance to 7% and then start wilding. That's not type of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't say that AIs have bias, but you can restrict them to have biasness, of course,
Yes.
because in the end
Yes.
of the day, AIs are created. It's and they adapt. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, shit, that's a whole new topic on top of that. But AIs adapt.
You get what I'm saying? You get
Mm,
what I'm saying?
mm.
And how much do we have actually gone? I think we are close to an end, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Because now I think I have two clips that are 45 minutes. I believe the other one was around 45, and this is also now 46 minutes.
Yeah. So we are close to an end. Bless you, brother.
Thank you very much.
Any last word? Pretty well haven't spoken that much after the rant started, but
Yeah,
Hey, my bad, my bad.
well, I was
no
just
worries.
like nothing to say. But
Any
yeah,
last words?
eh, I think like uh, be able to adapt to new changes, learn from mistakes. Don't assume that you don't need it because you don't know how it's gonna play out in the future. At the same time, keep in touch with the things that make you human. Like keep in touch with your emotions. Learn how to how to be reflective. Surround yourself with the people who are actually able to do that, and learn how to differentiate like yourself on social media. That's so that it is more of a tool than that, so that you don't start identifying, okay, without social media there isn't life, or that kind of thing. So be able to be human, but also be able to use social media when you need it. My last 2 cents.
Preach,
Preach,
preach, my
preach.
brother, preach.
Which I'm out.
Thank you.
Bahit,
Hey, you know, hey, but in reality, this topic is like wide in a sense that, of course, we can like rerun it in a second episode in a way if we don't like. Yeah, that's a private topic, but we can run it as a second topic in a way because it's a wide thing. It's a wide subject
yeah,
area, and as we can notice, the time has run now. It started off a little bit. What shall we talk about? But no, we got stuff running, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got some
but
stuff running.
this is like I said, this is an interesting topic, and uh, I'm not sure if it was Peter Jordan Peterson or one of at least somebody mentioned earlier that thing that we need right now is that people should be able to have a critical way of thinking and able to differ like falsified information and search information for themselves pretty much. That's the main things that we need in order for us to survive the era of basically AIs and computers and so on and so on.
Yeah, amen to that.
Amen to that. But hey,
Amen.
that's a whole different stress. And yeah, nothing much, nothing less for my part as well. I ain't got much, so that's that.
thank you, my guys. Thank you for first. Firstly, this is our first episode that we did in this setting, and we hope that we don't need to do these kinds anymore. But
Hey,
if
come on now,
Yes.
come on now.
And if we need to
hey,
do them, we hope that we are able to do them with some mics.
With
I
proper.
mean,
Hey, I
I
got my
mean,
microphone going on. Come
But
on now.
well,
I
at least
mean,
some of us is professional.
let's first let's hope that we get a
Sponsor,
studio.
sponsor
Okay,
by
well, that's actually even
by
better
Beats.
fish. We
But yeah, seriously, thank you for watching and thank you guys for
thank
doing
you.
this. I
Yes,
hope everybody got something from this
yes.
knowledge, humor, value, whatever you got, or you just
Mm.
enjoyed it in a sense. Like,
Yes.
comment, subscribe. You know where the buttons are, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace,
Yes.
peace, peace.